As we look at our homicide reduction, we are making great strides in reducing homicides. And this is really driven by the high visibility work of our patrol officers.
From Fox 5, this is The Noon.
Now at noon, Luigi Mangione poses for cameras as he returns to court for pretrial evidence hearing. Inside of the courtroom right now, a police officer was on the scene the moment Mangione was discovered inside of Pennsylvania McDonald's. But first, brutal cold. The tri-state in for some of the coldest air we have seen since last winter. Welcome to The Noon. I'm Bianca Peters. The cold will be downright dangerous in most parts of our area tonight. Let's get right to meteorologist Audrey Puente at the Weather Center tracking the conditions outside right now. And yeah, it's verge of freezing.
Definitely feel it out there, Bianca. And it's below freezing for our actual temperature in many areas across the tri-state area. We have a dip in the jet stream, which has allowed an Arctic blast to come down out of Canada and produce below normal temperatures anywhere from the Midwest all the way out to New England. So right now we do have readings that are below the freezing mark across the entire region. We're at 28 right now in Central Park. It's 30 degrees in Islip, 26 in White Plains. Off to the northwest here, though, Monticello checking in with a temperature of 18 degrees. Now, all of these readings are running much colder than they were at this time yesterday, and we also have the wind to actually factor in here. The winds are sustained between 10 and 20 miles per hour on average, so that's giving us wind chills that are very cold. It's feeling like the teens across the region, and we still have another day of this. I'll have all the details coming up. Bianca?
Audrey, thank you so much. To this now, Luigi Mangione back in court today. One of the officers who arrested him in Pennsylvania last year is testifying as Mangione's team tries to get key evidence thrown out. Fox 5's Antoine Lewis is live outside the courthouse with the very latest on all of this. Antoine, are you getting real-time information from our Lisa Evers, who's actually inside of court right now? So what are you hearing?
Well, the officer is still on the stand, Bianca, and all of this is going on as new evidence was released over the weekend. This includes a knife that officials say was found in Luigi Mangione's pockets at the time that he was taken into custody. There is also a Greyhound bus ticket with the name of Sam Dawson on it, which officials say is an alias that the defendant used. Also released was what appears to be a to-do list, which includes the word survival kit written on it. Now, the list had words like Best Buy, USB, digital cam written on it, but they were crossed out. There's also a photo of the clothes that investigators say Mangione had on at the time that he is accused of fatally shooting United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson last year. Joining us here outside of court is Seth Zuckerman, a criminal defense attorney, as well as a former prosecutor. Seth, thanks for being with us. Of course. In a suppression hearing, what is the most difficult part for the defense to try to do to be successful at this?
You know, the hardest part about a suppression hearing is there's a presumption that the government and the police have done everything right. So it's the burden on the defense to prove that there was a constitutional issue, whether it's with regards to the statements they obtained or the warrantless search they did of his bag and his person, that there was something wrong, that the judge should suppress this evidence and not allow it into the trial. Now they're in front of a very experienced judge who's been doing this for many decades, who's not afraid to suppress evidence if he thinks the police conduct was improper and not in line with the Constitution and the rules. So we're here to see whether or not the police followed all of those protocols.
Now, we know that among the things that the defense is claiming is that the Miranda rights were not given when they were supposed to properly, as well as some of the evidence that they say was in the backpack was illegally obtained. And that's not an easy thing to try to get to convince the court took place.
That's absolutely right. And I think the best argument here is the search of the bag. Because initially the bag is on a table next to him a couple feet away. And then the police officers, as you see in the body cam, move that bag to about 6 or 8 feet away on another table behind a few officers. And then they start searching it as they're about to arrest him. They didn't have a warrant. They didn't secure the premises and search for a bomb. They just went into the bag and found this alleged manifesto and this 3D printed gun. They theoretically should have obtained a warrant before searching that bag. And I think that is the most critical issue here, because I think the defense has a really good argument to suppress that warrantless search of the backpack and that the gun and the alleged manifesto may be suppressed going into trial.
So if you are the prosecutor and that's exactly what happens, how do you proceed moving from that?
Well, I think what the prosecutors have tried to do throughout the beginning of the hearing so far is try to establish how close it was to Mr. Mangione at the time that the police initially approached him. To say that it was within his reachable grab area, he may have been able to reach for a weapon, and that's what they're trying to establish. The fact that it was moved away later on is damaging to the prosecution because it shows it was not within his reachable grab area. He could not have grabbed the weapon from there. There's a number of police officers between him and the bag at the point they start searching it. So I think the prosecutors actually have an issue, and that's why they've been trying to talk about what happened where the bag was when they initially got there, as opposed to where it was when they started the warrantless search.
So we know right now on the stand, testifying right now is one of the officers from the Pennsylvania arrest. What are you hearing as far as the timeline, as far as how long this suppression hearing will take?
Well, this is a really unusual suppression hearing. Prosecutors are scheduled to call 27 witnesses over the course of a couple weeks. You know, I'm in this courthouse all the time. You know, a typical suppression hearing is 3 witnesses, 4 witnesses max. It takes a day. It's very unusual, the timeline of this. Obviously, Mr. Mangione was sick on Friday, so that delayed it. But how long this is taking is very unusual. And then there are probably going to be some written briefs and a written decision. We're probably looking at a long time before we hear a decision in this.
Seth Zuckerman, former prosecutor, criminal defense attorney, thank you so much for being with us. So Bianca, again, as you pointed out, Lisa Evers is inside. We've got things covered out. She's giving us updates. We'll continue to update you and the viewers as soon as we get information. But this is the very latest from where we are in Lower Manhattan. Back inside to you.
All right, thank you, and thank you, Seth, as well. Meanwhile, the suspect accused of assaulting an NYU student is expected in criminal court today. 45-year-old James Rizzo, charged with assault, forcible touching, and sexual abuse for last week's attack in the Village. Now, he's also charged with attacking a woman on Thanksgiving and in a separate burglary case. He's pleaded not guilty and is being held without bail. Prosecutors say that he has a long criminal history and spent 2 years in prison before being released in September. The judge overseeing his case has ordered Rizzo to undergo a psychological evaluation. And Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani says he will live in Gracie Mansion. Mamdani had previously said that he and his wife were still deciding, but now says they'll move into the mansion come January. The couple have been living in a rent-stabilized apartment in Astoria, a fact which drew criticism from his opponents in the race. Mayor Mamdani says the couple will miss their longtime neighborhood. Now, he released a statement saying, in part, quote, "This decision came down to our family's safety and the importance of dedicating all of my focus on enacting the affordability agenda New Yorkers voted for. My priority always is serving the people who call this city home." Meanwhile, a major subway route change impacting more than 1 million daily riders is now in effect. So starting today and every weekday going forward between 6 a.m. and 9:30 p.m., the F and M trains will swap routes between Queens and Manhattan. The MTA says the move aims to clear up a congestion point at Queens Plaza, where F and M trains now have to merge and cross in front of other lines. Meanwhile, during the day, the F train will use the 53rd Street Tunnel and Queens Plaza right next to the E train. The F will now stop at Queens Plaza, Court Square, 23rd Street, Lexington Avenue, 53rd Street, and 5th Avenue, 53rd Street. And the M train will shift to the 63rd Street Tunnel and Roosevelt Island during those same hours. So the M will now stop at 21st Street, Queensbridge, Roosevelt Island, Lexington Avenue, 63rd Street, and 57th Street. Meanwhile, the NYPD touting a lengthy stretch without a violent death in the city. So next at noon, details on how long the city went without a homicide and how long it's been since a similar stretch. Plus, advocates are demanding better protections for the city's immigrants, the changes they're calling on leaders to make. Welcome back. Some new numbers show that New York City has gone 12 days without a murder. That ties a record that dates back to 2015. The NYPD reports that during the first 11 months of the year, New York City had the lowest number of shootings, incidents, and victims in recorded history. And in November, there were no murders in all of Queens and Staten Island, with 16 murders total in the city for that month. And a rally took place on the steps of City Hall this morning, calling for more rights for the city's immigrant communities. Take a look.
What do we do? Stand up, fight back! What do we do? Stand up, fight back! What do we do? Stand up, fight back!
The rally was held ahead of a city council hearing on 4 bills aimed at protecting immigrant communities. The bills being introduced would protect immigrant families from ICE. The bills also will require city government to hang signage telling people about their rights, and establishes an order for operations for how E-Verify can be used during the hiring process.
And we want to make sure these pieces of legislation get passed to shore up the protections that we have told residents that they have. New York City must step up and anchor themselves in what they said it was, which is a sanctuary city.
Well, the rally also comes as the federal government is cracking down on immigrant communities with expanded ICE operations. Meanwhile, inside the city council, lawmakers are hearing testimony from witnesses about the 4 bills under consideration, including a bill that would allow people held by the NYPD, corrections and probation departments to bring a private civil action alleging violations of detention laws. The idea is to protect non-citizens and prevent the Department of Corrections from sharing information with federal immigration authorities. And the Trump administration planning to turn its attention to the economy this week, what they're doing to soothe Americans' concerns about rising prices. Plus, there are growing calls to release video of the so-called double tap strike on an alleged Venezuelan drug boat, how the Pentagon is now responding. Some developing news now. Russian airstrikes on civilian targets are intensifying as peace talks hit a possible roadblock. President Trump says he is not happy with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's response to the very latest American peace proposal, adding pressure as negotiations move slowly forward. Ukrainians emerged from a call this weekend with Special Envoy Steve Witkoff saying there were major sticking points remaining. And the Kremlin says it still wants, quote, radical changes to that agreement, including the annexation of much of eastern Ukraine, a concession already ruled out by Zelensky. And Israel and Hamas getting closer to the next phase of the ceasefire. But officials warn the second stage could just be as challenging as the first. UN Ambassador Mike Waltz arrived in Israel today to advance the next stage of the ceasefire. Several key issues remain unresolved, including the disarming of Hamas. But over the weekend, senior Hamas officials said that the group is ready to discuss freezing or storing its weapons as part of the ceasefire. And lawmakers in Washington pressuring the Pentagon to release a video of a second U.S. military strike on a suspected drug boat in the Caribbean in September that killed 2 survivors of the initial strike. As Fox's Rebecca Castor reports, the Secretary of War continues to argue that the double strike was justified.
For 3 months now, the U.S. military has targeted boats in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific, taking out alleged cartel members smuggling drugs into the U.S. Democratic lawmakers have questioned the operation's legality since the beginning and are growing increasingly concerned after learning survivors of a strike were killed by a follow-up.
When there are survivors clinging to a side of the boat, the obligation is to rescue them.
Some Republicans also have concerns, but the majority of the party is backing President Trump in his mission to stop the flow of drugs.
Under core Article 2 powers as Commander-in-Chief, the president has the ability to blow up narco-terrorists and their shipments that are meant to poison 100 million or 100,000 Americans every single year.
But a number of lawmakers say they're deeply disturbed after watching video of the so-called double-tap strike and want it released.
If the Pentagon and our defense secretary is so proud of what they're doing, let the American people see that video.
When Fox asked Secretary of War Pete Hegseth if he'd commit to releasing the full video, he said it's still under review as military leaders weigh if it will compromise the ongoing mission. But he continues to stand by the strike in question.
There were a couple folks that could still be in the fight, access to radios. There was a link-up point of another potential boat. I fully support that strike. I would have made the same call myself.
So far, the U.S. has carried out 22 known strikes on alleged drug boats, killing at least 86 people, and Secretary Hegseth says they'll continue. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Well, President Trump is planning a $12 billion farm aid package to help the sector as it grapples with China tariffs. This news comes from a White House official who was granted anonymity and said Trump will unveil the plan today at the White House. The aid is the administration's latest effort to defend Trump's economic stewardship and answer voter angst about rising costs. The White House this week is going to be just the start of a new emphasis on the economy, with recent polls and elections showing it may be a weak spot right now for the administration.
The real incomes are up about 1%. And what we're not going to do is say that Americans don't know what they're feeling. We've been working on it every day.
The president will point out some bright spots this week, including energy prices. The White House makes the case that most big price spikes were locked in under the Biden administration when inflation soared. And a fast new ferry running between the North Shore of Staten Island and Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. The ferry ride from St. George to Bay Ridge takes about 10 minutes, costs about $4.50. It's going to cut commute times for people who live and work in Brooklyn and Staten Island. The ferry idea was first proposed back in 2017. And local lawmakers say that it will offer direct car-free travel for the first time in more than 50 years. Representative Nicole Malliotakis said that the frequency of the ferry schedule will depend on ridership and usage. So the more people who travel by ferry, the more often it will run. Meanwhile, let's turn now to weather to see what's in store for us this afternoon. If you're stepping outside, especially over the weekend, you know that the temperatures have certainly dropped. But here to tell us more about that, Audrey Puente. It looks nice. Hey, it's clear out there, but obviously it's just cold.
It is very cold out there, Bianca. And if you're going to be riding any ferries, you want to be on the lower deck for sure, not on the upper deck today. We have an Arctic blast that has returned to the tri-state area, so that's for allowing below normal temperatures. Factor in a wind, too, and it will feel quite chilly outside. We have wind chills in the teens in many spots. We also have a threat of some rain and some some snow as we go into the middle part of the week. Definitely cold enough for snow. We have a lot of readings below the freezing mark across the region. We're at 28 in East Hampton. It's 30 degrees in Islip, 28 in Bridgeport. Up to the north, we have 26 up in Poughkeepsie. It's 19 for the actual temperature, the air temperature in Monticello. These numbers are running much colder than they were at this time yesterday, and our winds are exacerbating the issue as well. Right now, they're sustained between 10 and 20 miles per hour, but we have gusts as high as 30 in Islip, 29 in Bridgeport, 25 in White Plains, and we have wind chills that are making for teens in many spots, including Central Park, where it feels like 16. 18 right now is the wind chill in Islip. Teens across into the Hamptons, up towards Connecticut. 10 degrees is what it feels like in Poughkeepsie, and we're in the single digits in Monticello, where it feels like 8 degrees right now. So you definitely need to be bundled up. It's dangerously cold outdoors. And yes, we do see plenty of sunshine with some clouds filtering it from time to time, but that's not adding to giving us any relief of any sort here, because the winds and the cold are making it feel very frigid outside. The cloud deck that we're experiencing is on the northern fringe of a system that is bringing snow showers across the mid-Atlantic. Fortunately for us, that's where it will stay. So we're going to be dry as we move along through our Monday. We're actually under the influence of high pressure here, which is going to keep things quiet for us today and tomorrow. But we also have that Arctic blast that has come down from Canada, and that's allowing for the very cold temperatures across the region. So today we're looking at temperatures to stay pretty much where they are right now, mostly in the upper 20s to low 30s across the region. For the most part, it's going to feel below freezing across the region. Tonight we drop down to 18 in the city, single digits in some of the suburbs, and then looking ahead at the next several days, we're going to warm it back up into the mid 40s, which will feel much better, but we also have a chance of rain and snow as we go into Wednesday. Bianca, over to you.
All right, Audrey, thanks so much. Well, next at noon, Netflix has some competition in its push to take over Warner Brothers Discovery. Details on the hostile bid from a rival studio emerging today. Welcome back. Netflix's $72 billion push to buy Warner Brothers Discovery is facing a challenge from a rival studio in what has been called a hostile bid. Paramount has gone straight to Warner Brothers shareholders for a $30 per stock share cash offer for the company, asking them to reject the deal with Netflix. Warner Brothers previously declined a similar offer, but antitrust concerns could play into the decision-making here, making President Trump said last night that the deal struck by Netflix to buy Warner Brothers Discovery, quote, could be a problem because of the size of the combined market share. He said he will be involved in deciding whether the federal government approves any deal. Meanwhile, a report shows the number of HIV cases in the city continuing to rise. Last year, nearly 1,800 people were diagnosed with HIV in 5 boroughs. Gothamist says that represents a 5.4% increase from 2023. The number of new cases in the city has been going up since 2020, following a sharp decline that began in 2001. The report noted that 86% of those diagnosed in 2024 were either Black or Latino. This comes as the Trump administration proposes cutting funding to HIV treatment and prevention programs. Meanwhile, a new study finds that air pollution may undermine some of the health benefits people get from regular exercise. The study found that regular exercise, meaning at least 2.5 hours of moderate to vigorous exercise a week, can lower the risk of death by 30%. But that benefit falls by half if you live in a place with heavy air pollution. Researchers noted nearly half of the world's population lives in places exceeding the safe threshold for particle pollution. Researchers emphasize that people shouldn't let these results deter their efforts to exercise outdoors. All right, next at noon, the USPS is rolling out a new fleet of delivery vehicles with a unique kind of look. Why these so-called duck trucks are being touted as a major upgrade. You have nothing to wear. Later at noon, we're going to look at the app that builds a digital version of your closet, helping you plan outfits with real stylist support.
Many jobs are available with the City of New York today. Get connected to career opportunities as a teacher, school nurse, correction officer, taxi inspector, and more. Whether you're starting out or looking for a change, there's a place for you with the City of New York. Start right now at deliveringforyou.nyc or call 212-386-5000. Hiring professionals are waiting to help.
Work with NYC is where you're meant to be.
Deliveringforyou.nyc.
All right, it is 12:30 right now. Welcome back to the Noon. We've got a whole lot more coming up here, starting with this. If you find yourself digging through your wardrobe every morning, desperate to put an outfit together, Kit Me may be just what you need. We're talking to the fashionistas behind this brand new app. And the Golden Globe nominations were announced this morning. Our Ryan Christopher is going to join us to break it all down. But let's first get another live look outside on this Monday. Beautiful view here of the Christmas tree. Just not so beautiful is the temperatures that we're dealing with on this Monday. Audrey Fuente, we definitely have to bundle up. I even brought out the hand warmers today as well.
Oh, that was very smart of you. We can see in that picture also that we saw the flag flying, indicating that there is a bit of a wind outdoors, and that is definitely adding to the chill factor across the tri-state area today. So we've had a dip in our jet stream, which has allowed an Arctic blast to come down out of Canada, and that is producing below normal temperatures from the Midwest all the way right here into the Northeast here. And that's going to continue for tomorrow, too. The air mass will kind of shift to the east, but we're still running below normal here around New England down towards the Mid-Atlantic. And then after that, the temperatures kind of modify and will get a little bit better as we go into Wednesday and Thursday. But the cold air is not just here in the Northeast and in the Midwest. It goes all the way down towards the Gulf Coast, where they're experiencing temperatures pretty chilly for them. It's 46 in Atlanta, 39 in Memphis, and 56 out towards New Orleans. Right now in the Northeast here, we have teens being found around Binghamton, Albany, and Syracuse. That's the air temperature. It's 28 right now in Central Park. So we've had numbers falling since midnight when we were at about 39 degrees. And we're going to stay pretty steady from where we are right now. Right now we're at 30 in Islip, 28 in East Hampton. What's important to note is that everyone is below the freezing mark, so it definitely feels frigid out there. Now we're going to factor in the winds. Right now they're running between 10 and 20 miles per hour, but we've had gusts as high as 25 to 30. So that adds to the chill here, and it's making it feel like the teens and even single digits up in Monticello, where it feels like 8 degrees at the noontime hour. Okay, so look at the satellite radar, shows that we are dry across the Northeast here. We have plenty of sunshine being found through the Hudson Valley. A couple of clouds filtering that sun in and around the city and Long Island. A little bit more in the way of cloud cover to our south. That's because there is a system that's producing snow and rain around the Mid-Atlantic that is bringing that cloud cover just a little further to the north here and kind of moving across southern portions of New Jersey. We're under the influence of high pressure. That's going to keep us storm-free and keep that system to our south. And that's where the rain and snow will stay for tonight. Tomorrow we'll wake up with plenty of sunshine, but it will be another frigid day across the region. We could catch a few quick snow showers off to the north here as we go into Tuesday, but no accumulation is expected. The clouds kind of thicken up as we go into Tuesday night. They're coming in advance of another system that will bring the threat of snow, sleet, and rain across the region here as we go into Wednesday morning. So that could produce a messy mix for the morning commute. It's something to be aware of and to plan ahead for. And all of that moisture will stick with us, too, as we go into lunchtime as well. We'll probably see a change over to rain in some of the areas that will experience snow and a bit of a mix in the morning, and that rain will shift eastward, give us a little bit of a break in the early afternoon. We could actually see the sun peeking through the clouds before it sets, but there's still another line that'll be forming here, so that will produce some showers in the afternoon. But I think the steadiest amount of precipitation will be in the morning hours through midday on Wednesday. Then things dry out as we go into Wednesday night. We could see a few flurries off to the north with a trough that will pass over to the north of us as we go into Wednesday night. So in the meantime, for today, generally a mixed sky. What's really important to note is the cold temperatures. They're going to stay pretty much where they are right now. Tonight, we drop down to the teens and even single digits for our overnight lows, and factor in a wind, and it will feel even colder. Another cold day on tap for Tuesday. Wednesday, we modify back into the 40s after some early morning rain and snow. It'll be drier for Thursday, and then we turn cold once again as we go into the end of the week. Bianca?
Yeah, hand warmers the entire week. That's what it looks like. Audrey, thanks so much. Meanwhile, the United States Postal Service rolling out new vehicles. They are being called duck trucks. Fox 5's Jody Goldberg takes us for a ride.
For generations, these trucks have been part of everyday life, from horse-drawn wagons to the long-life vehicles that have brought noise through neighborhoods for decades. After delays in rolling out its next fleet, the United States Postal Service is finally putting a new truck on the road just in time for the holidays.
This is my office.
For letter carrier Craig Federuso, the sound of the old engine starting has been the soundtrack of his route for nearly 31 years. But the truck he knows best is the one he's finally retiring.
They serve their purpose, but it's time to move on from them.
Now Craig is trading the noise for a ride that's noticeably smoother. They call it the duck truck for its shape and low profile that's designed to give drivers better visibility. Some are gas powered, while others are hybrid, but they're all built for safety.
We have front cameras, we have side cameras, we have anti-lock brakes, and we also, which is not good for now, but we have air conditioning.
Now on the older mail trucks, if I was standing back here, the driver wouldn't even know it. But on these new ones, put it in reverse and I show up on the backup camera.
It also has a emergency braking that if there is something in the back, it'll automatically stop the truck.
For Craig, who makes more than 400 stops a day, the difference is dramatic. There's more space to organize, a side door for easy access, and a layout that he says finally matches the workload. The USPS says the upgrades are arriving at the right time as part of a multi-billion-dollar network modernization.
People heavily rely on mail in all weather conditions. People get their medicines delivered, packages, bills. Mail is absolutely relevant today, just as it was 250 years ago when we started this adventure.
And 250 years later, letter carriers like Craig finally have a smarter and safer way to do it. Jody Goldberg, Fox 5 News.
Interesting design there. All right, well, still convinced you have nothing to wear? Up next, the app that builds a digital version of your closet and helps you plan outfits with real stylist support. We're trying Kit Me live. Stay tuned. Plus, the Golden Globe nominations, they are out. We're looking at the movies and TV shows up for awards with Ryan Christopher. Stay tuned. All right, so let's be real. We all kind of forget what's actually in our closets, which is why most of us repeat the same outfits. Now, Kit Me is a digital closet app that organizes your wardrobe, helps you plan outfits, and even connects you with real stylists. Joining me now is the founder of Kit Me, Craig Keto, and one of their stylists, Madeline Walter, to show us how this whole thing works. Thanks so much for being here, guys.
Thank you so much.
I mean, this is literally part of 2025, using AI to help you figure out what you have and how to optimize it. So for people that don't know of this app, what does it actually do? We'll start with you, Craig.
Yeah, so essentially we take your entire closet that's in your home and we put it into your phone effortlessly in seconds. So you connect your email address and we pull all the receipts. So we pull all the brands, all the sizes, all the products, so you can access it anytime, anywhere.
Okay, I love that. I love that you can just actually kind of go from what you bought to put it in there automatically. But let's talk about what you have in your closet already. What's the process like? I'm sure you have to upload each item. I feel like sometimes people are like, that's a lot.
No, so that's actually the golden ticket of KitMe, is it auto imports everything from your Gmail. So in like 20 seconds, you can see everything you've ever bought that has a Gmail receipt, or manually upload items that maybe you thrifted or didn't happen to get a receipt for.
Yeah, okay, interesting. I love that. So when you're talking about the whole process, we have some clothes behind us. I mean, how long does it kind of take for someone to really upload their whole closet onto the app?
Yeah, so if you were to do that in your home, it would take hours, maybe weeks.
Yeah.
But with KitMe, we pull it all in a matter of seconds. All the brands, all the products, all the sizes.
Okay, so talk to us about how this app now, once you have all your stuff uploaded into the app, how does it go about picking outfits for you?
So right now we have basically a landing page of 12 stylists that you can consult if you align with one of their aesthetics, chat with them, and they can see everything that you've owned and be like, I'm going to Miami, I need help picking out what to wear for a trip.
Yep.
And they can put together mood boards, kind of those Pinterest style what to wear. And we also have a calendar feature, so you could pretty much plan your whole outfits for the whole year.
That is so wild, and I think that definitely would help a lot of people. Okay, so give us the nuts and bolts, right? Like, everything costs money these days. It costs more to you work with a stylist, and how does that work?
Yeah, so our ethos in general is to consume consciously, and it starts by just understanding what you have.
Yeah.
And from there, like as Madeline said, you can access stylists, have personal help. Like personal styling is somewhat aspirational for many people.
Sure.
We make it super easy and accessible now for anyone to talk to a professional.
And to download the, I was going to say, download the app is free right now?
It is free.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yep.
Well, that's first of all great. And then to work with the stylist, how much more does that cost?
Also still free. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
How are you guys making money off this app? Don't you? This is the whole point of making an app, to make some money. I'm trying to figure out what's.
Well, yeah. Luckily, we're partnered with some amazing retailers: Essence, My Teresa, Revolve, and Forward. And you're going to be receiving product recommendations on a daily basis based upon what you have.
Yeah.
So no more ads. Everything's curated, personalized, and the best recommendation that you could possibly be. And we make affiliate commission off those purchases.
Okay, awesome. And where can people find the app and download if they want to today?
You can find us on the Google Play Store, the App Store, and KITME.
And I forgot to ask, this is like a social app as well. Tell us about how that works real fast before we go.
Yeah, so basically you can follow friends and see exactly what they're buying. So I love getting inspired by what my friends are buying and all those like cool, unique brands that I wouldn't know. And so, yeah, it's a great way to kind of like make fashion a social hub.
I was gonna say, I was just going through that this week. I'm going on a trip with my friends, and we're all like, what are we wearing? Could use the app for that.
You can use KitMe now.
Follow
there
your
we go.
girls.
Okay, we might have to do that. Thank you guys so much for being here, and congrats on launching something so cool.
Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. All right, we still got more noon straight ahead. I'm going to go figure out how to use this app because I need help. We all need help. We got more noon. We're chatting with Ryan coming up. He always has great outfits. I don't think he needs KitMe, but we'll see. We'll see who's there. No, yeah, he's looking good today. All right, we're going to chat with him in just a second. Welcome back. The Golden Globe nominations are out. Paul Thomas Anderson's star-studded film One Battle After Another scored a leading 9 Golden Globe nominations. The White Lotus led TV series with 6 nominations of its own, a really popular one. Joining us now to break all of this down, Ryan Christopher.
What's up?
I feel like I'm not watching enough TV because I haven't seen either of those.
Get on it. What are you doing, Bianca?
Yeah, explain me.
All
What am I
she has
missing?
is free time, apparently. Well, let's break it down for you. So this is the Golden Globes. It's the best of TV and of movies. Now, for the first time ever, there's going to be a best podcast category, which is sort of unique. Maybe Kicking and Screaming with Bianca and Lou can be on there. That's my vote. All right, but maybe next year. Now, Michael B. Jordan and Dwayne The Rock Johnson, they received their first Golden Globe nods as well for The Smashing Machine and Sinners, respectively. But let's break down those 4 big categories here, okay? So first up, we are taking a look here in our first category. Let's take a look at what we have right here. Oh, there it is. For the Golden Globe nominations, Best Picture, Drama. Now, you saw Frankenstein,
I
right?
did.
Yeah. Now, what do you think
beautiful.
of? It was beautiful for what reason?
Because it was
Jacob Elordi.
Well, I mean, first of all, you can't tell he's beautiful in that movie.
Oh, yeah,
He
well, that's
plays
true. That's true. All right.
It was just shot beautifully.
Yeah, no, it was. And it was directed by Guillermo del Toro. Most of the film was, they were real sets. There was no CGI. That big ship that's in the movie, that was real.
That was real?
That was real. That was the real deal. They built the interior and the exterior of the ship as a real set piece.
I did not
so
know that.
kind of crazy.
Very cool.
Up next, also nominated was Hamnet. This one stars Paul Mescal, and you might know this story as it was actually Shakespeare. It's kind of what inspired Hamlet.
Yeah.
His son Hamnet died of the bubonic plague, and that's what this film is all about. Also, it was just an accident, which is about an Iranian man who bumps into somebody who believes is his former torturer, and now he's looking for revenge. Also, I know, a little dark and ominous. Also, The Secret Agent. This one is about a former special agent who is in Brazil in the 70s, and he kind of goes into secret hiding. And then Sentimental Value. That was the second most nominated film with 8 Golden Globes overall.
Okay.
That one starring Stellan Skarsgård. There's like 80 Skarsgård
I know, there is.
actors. He's the father of them all, okay? So he basically plays a director whose long-estranged daughter, he tries to cast her in a movie. And then last but certainly not least, let's talk about Sinners, shall we? Directed by Ryan Coogler, starring Michael B. Jordan. Both of them also receiving Golden Globe nominations. This is Michael B's first nomination. It's incredible, from the music to the storyline to the deeper meaning behind the film. I think this is going to be a fan favorite moving forward into the Oscars. It's got to get some Oscar buzz as well this year. So let's talk about our next category, though, shall we? So we talked about the drama. Now let's talk about the musical and comedy category here. Blue Moon, this one stars Ethan Hawke. He's an old-time Broadway playwright, and the whole entire movie takes place...
Oh, I thought this was about the beer.
Oh, no, okay. Well, you can have a Blue Moon while you're watching Blue Moon, but it all takes place at the bar Sardi's, right in Midtown, right on Broadway, so it's kind of a cool local tie. Begonia stars Emma Stone, and she gets kidnapped by these 2 conspiracy theorists. She's a CEO of a pharmaceutical company. They think she's an alien, so they abduct her. I'm not making up the premise here, okay? This is what the movie's about, all right? So that's a wacky, wild one. Marty Supreme stars Timothée Chalamet as a ping pong star.
Everyone's trying to get this jacket, the Marty Supreme jacket.
Yes.
Have you seen that?
I've seen it. I know. It's super sporty. Maybe you could talk to your friends from the previous segment and they can put in the order.
Source that one.
All right. And then also followed by No Other Choice, Nouvelle Vague, which is actually all filmed in black and white, and it's sort of about the creation of a 1959 film. And then what was the last movie on there? Oh, One Battle After Another. That was directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, starring that guy right there, Leonardo DiCaprio. Tiana Taylor also was nominated for Best Actress. Sean Penn was incredible in this movie.
Taylor, the singer?
The singer, model, actress as well. Yeah, she's in this film. So this one is really a favorite so far for the Oscars. It won the Gotham Award, or Gothamness Award last week, and it's really one of those films that's getting a lot of buzz as we just kick off award season. It is here. And now we know the nominees for the 2026.
Do you have a favorite?
I mean, I just saw this film not too long ago, One Battle After Another. I think it will probably win Best Feature in that category, but you never know, because it's not just about movies, it's about TV too. I don't know if we still have more time.
I don't know how much time we have left.
Yeah.
Do we have time left to talk about what happened in TV?
Oh, yeah. Do we? I don't know. No, they're saying wrap it up. All right, well, congratulations all the TV nominees. You had The Bear. Let's see who else we got here.
Why didn't we get nominated for anything?
Hacks, yeah. Where's The Noon on here?
Where's The Noon show?
Only Murders in the Building and The Noon. Those are the top tier nominees this year.
I love it. Ryan, thanks so much.
No doubt.
Maybe next year The Noon will actually be nominated for something. All right, more news right ahead. We're talking about this. There's one gift Americans love more than anything else for the holidays this year, and you won't have to stand in line to buy it. We love not standing in line. Coming up, what's a new survey saying at the top of the list for holiday shopping? Plus, it is always a heated debate this time of year. Should you go real or fake when it comes to Christmas trees? Ryan has an answer for that. What is it?
I don't know. It depends where you live, I guess.
We're chatting about it after this. Well, it may be a sign of the times, but the #1 item on most Americans' Christmas list this year is cold, hard cash. Talker Research asked that question of 5,000 people across the country. 58% said they'd prefer to receive money instead of presents this year. Clothes and accessories were the second most wanted. Third place on people's Christmas lists was having their bills paid. That is a nice Christmas surprise. All right, Christmas lovers are quick to draw a line in the snow over their tree preference. Some love a fake fir, while others enjoy a freshly cut pine. But Richard Giacobas found out both are going to cost you big bucks this year.
Constantine Pantazis and his family always spent Christmas morning opening presents under a fake tree.
Well, growing up, we had an artificial tree, and we attached a lot of memories to that tree.
But those faux Fraser firs are costing more this holiday season, forcing Constantine to break tradition and go with a blue spruce this year.
You know, you look at it and say to yourself, what do we need to do here? Do we need to make the memories? And sometimes you may have to overpay for that.
Rising costs of artificial trees is being blamed on tariffs. Most imitation trees are made in China. And according to a study from the American Christmas Tree Association, prices are up 10 to 15%, something interior designer Christopher Schultz-Finley says he can vouch for.
Majority of my time is shopping and going from store to store, figuring out which prices are better than other prices. I think finding the best value for each customer is most important.
Over at Danny's Christmas Trees and Wreaths in Eastchester, Pete DeMeglio says his sales of real trees are the highest they've ever been.
I think the reason why is because of the tariffs with China, that they have raised all the prices on the artificial trees. So now, I mean, you got to remember, this is a once-a-year purchase for a live tree.
About 75% of the trees here at Danny's are grown in the U.S., right up in New Hampshire. And not only is that great for U.S. agriculture and the environment, but it also saves on the cost. But even if you come here and you purchase one of the largest trees for $500, Pete says you can't beat the memories or the tradition.
And when you wake up in the morning and you smell the pine and it smells fresh, I mean, who doesn't want that? That's
Yeah.
Christmas.
Constantine and crew, meanwhile, say for now, they're sticking with that real-life blue spruce for the long term, needles and all.
I'm a little traditionalist too, so since the tradition now started with the kids and they like it, I have to keep it that way.
Sprucing things up in Eastchester, Richard Giacovis, Fox 5 News.
Well, a nearly $900 million Powerball jackpot is up for grabs tonight. Next at noon, why you might want to check your numbers if you bought a ticket for the drawing that happened this weekend.
Fox 5.
Well, that is our show, but before we go, here's one last thing to leave you with. Tonight's Powerball jackpot is now at $875 million. That is after there was no jackpot winner on Saturday, but two players in the tri-state won some big prizes in that drawing. There was a $2 million winner in New Jersey, and someone in the Bronx won $100,000. So don't forget to check your tickets. Here are the winning numbers from Saturday: 13, 14, 26, 28, 44. The Powerball number was 7. We'll see you tomorrow. 25 Words or Less is next. If you want more news, tune into the Fox local app, streaming right now.
Hello and welcome to Newsroom Live. I'm Meredith Corman. Happy Monday. A cold start to the day here in Manhattan, but it also looks pretty chilly outside of the courtroom in Lower Manhattan, where our Lisa Evers and Antoine Lewis have been there all day for the Luigi Mangione pretrial hearings. We actually have them right outside of the courtroom right now. Antoine, are they on a lunch break right now? What's going on?
Absolutely, that's what's going on, Meredith. Good afternoon. We're going to bring Lisa in now, our colleague Lisa Evers, because Lisa has been in the courtroom all day. Lisa's also joined by attorney Adam Conta. Lisa, what was it like inside and what happened this morning?
Well, first of all, the witness who was probably the key witness is going to turn out to be, I'm getting some feedback on my...
on your phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, anyway, the person who is probably one of the most important witnesses of this entire pretrial hearing so far was on the stand. Her name is Christine Wasser. She's an Altoona Police Department officer. She is actually the one who went through that backpack at that McDonald's on December 9th. So basically what's been happening all morning is, gotta put these gloves on. You can hear the wind. We're making it happen though, guys. Making it happen. So she's the one that responded to the McDonald's, was going through the backpack, and it's very, very important because, you know, that whether or not this backpack is allowed in is going to determine what's happening, you know, with the whole case. But while I was in the courtroom, look who pops in, Adam Conta, one of our criminal defense attorneys that's been helping us understand all this. And I think it's really important for, you know, he was there. I said, can you come down and talk with us and break this down for us about how important this was? Because, Adam, from what you saw.
Yeah, sure. So what she's got to do, what they have to do with her on the stand is establish a few things. One, that Luigi was under arrest. Because if he was under arrest, that allows the police to then search incident to arrest. And they're going to say that he was under arrest for a false ID. Now what that does is that allows them to search with what's in his grabbable area. If this was a house, for instance, they wouldn't be able to go through the whole house, but they can search what's in his area to do two things: to try to prevent the officers from getting hurt by anything that's in the bag, and also to prevent destruction of evidence. But what they need to establish is not only was he under arrest, not only did they have some sort of fear that would allow them to search for a bomb, but they're going to have an explanation. And here's the key part, because that notebook is in a separate category. The notebook that has all his ramblings is clearly not a weapon. We can all agree on that. And so they're going to have to explain why they looked at that notebook, saw that it wasn't a weapon, but still went through it to extract information. If you think of it like a hard drive, it's much easier for us to think like, oh yeah, of course they would need a warrant to go into that hard drive. But think of the notebook in the same way, and they're going to have to establish that there today.
And here's the thing: there was a moment in the courtroom where, just like you see on Law and Order, and a lot of these police and crime shows and lawyer, you know, legal shows, where the ADA says to this police officer, Christine Wasser, from the Altoona Police Department, says, do you see the gentleman that you saw, you know, who owned that backpack in this courtroom? He's like literally pointing right to Luigi Mangione there. And I think, you know, just from everything that we've heard also from our colleagues too, were in the courtroom last week, it says Luigi Mangione was paying very close attention to everything that was said. He's leaned over on the table. They had a lot of body cam video that was there throughout, showing it moment by moment. The DA, obviously, they spent many, many hours going through all the body-worn camera from these Altoona police officers, trying to show that, yes, they were doing it by the book. And then at one point the ADA said to her, so if this was a shoplifter, would you have searched the bag that the shoplifter had? And she said yes. And they have a thing called search incident
to lawful arrest.
Yeah, search incident to arrest, which means basically if somebody's arrested, right? Well, you explain it better than I can.
Like I was saying, if somebody's arrested, you could search for weapons. I mean, the main purpose of it is really to make sure that the officer stays safe. So in the shoplifter analogy, sure, you could go into that backpack, but you're looking for knives or guns or something like that. And so they, like I said, they can say that here, that they were going through it for their own safety, but that's not going to get them over the hump for the notebook.
But Adam, one of the points the defense is making in this suppression hearing is that he wasn't Mirandized at the given time that he should have been.
Yep.
How do you understand that? How does it work in the context of this suppression hearing?
So it depends what statements they're going to try to use, because you don't have to Mirandize somebody if you're just asking for your name, your ID, what's called investigative questions. So if you're just trying trying to get general information here, you don't need Miranda warnings. But anything that's said beyond that, and listen, they had a 20-minute conversation there. And so the defense is going to say, no. This went way beyond the investigative function and went into actually trying to get substantive statements out of him. They're going to say that, listen, as soon as he gave a fake name and they could determine that that was a fake name, that's the only statement that mattered because that gave them the ability to then arrest him.
But also one of the things that was revealed this morning in the testimony with this police officer, because literally she's the one that responds. She hears the call over the radio in the police car in another sector of Altoona. And they say identify the person as Luigi Mangione over the radio. She testified to that. And then she also testified to, once they get him in the McDonald's, by the time she gets there, there's other officers there. Mangione is there. She says that we asked him before we opened the backpack, did he want to say anything, tell us what's in the backpack? And he said, I do not wish, something to the effect of, I do not wish to speak. And then the whole time this is going on, Antoine, they were going through minute by minute with the video, and obviously they have it much better organized than last week because this is such a critical part of the case, according to what we're hearing. And he's standing there with his hands handcuffed behind his back like this, not saying anything. We've all seen like the New York thing where they're like, "Dad, get out of it!" That's not, stop it. There's nothing. It's all very quiet. It's all very calm. And then they go through methodically going through the backpack. And then the other thing that was interesting was there was a debate about whether they should. To search it, which the two supervisors said, yes, it's a search incident to arrest, which according to Pennsylvania law is permitted, like we just said about the shoplifting. But does that mean he's being tried, though, in a New York court?
Right.
Is that the same thing here, Adam?
Yeah, it's the same general principle. I mean, it comes from a California Supreme Court case, and really all the states have sort of adopted it. And because he's wanted here, that would still transition over. But I think one of the things that we need to talk about here, too, is that we're talking about the Altoona Police Department, right? And so no police department is really ready for, like, the subject of a national manhunt to show up at your McDonald's.
Right.
And so even when you're trying to do best practices while you're effectuating an arrest, it doesn't mean in your head you're not thinking, oh my God, this is Luigi. I know the whole nation's here. We have him surrounded.
Right.
Let's get in that backpack,
Right.
And so there's an element of just sort of unpreparedness for such a monumental arrest to occur that I think is also part of this and how they reacted and what actions they took or didn't take.
So, well, Adam, over the weekend also we know that more evidence was released, a bus ticket with the name Sam Dawson on it, as well as other things, a supposed folding knife that they say was in his person, in a pocket that was there. All of this is also part of what they're trying to get suppressed.
Well, the pocket is a little different than the backpack, but yeah, the bus ticket, and then also I think a list of things to do.
No, and they also had, which we just heard just before I came down here, they also found maps, like a hand-drawn map with escape routes, with these other things, and also, which they didn't find at the McDonald's, but they found when they took them to the central processing area for people that are, for suspects that are arrested, was they found a silencer, and then that's when they found the gun. They didn't even find the gun in the initial search.
Right.
And there was a very quick thing that they really glossed over that I think bears some more research and investigation, which is they said, yeah, the bag was cleared. The bag was cleared. It's standing there. There's people standing almost like we are with our whole crew here, standing very close to each other. The bag was cleared for the bomb. And they kind of glossed over that. So I'm like going, I didn't see any canines. I didn't see any, what looked like canine officers, bomb squad, anything like. I mean, it's a small city, so maybe it would have been like a sheriff's bomb squad or something like that. Yeah. But they still thought like they had other things where they were saying, we think there's a bomb based on, who he is and what he allegedly did.
Adam, one of the toughest parts in all of this is just trying to convince the judge that everything was done above board. How did the proceedings go today while the officer was going? Was the judge also listening intently, following it along? Just walk us through what they feel, if you will, in the courtroom today.
This is a very, very experienced judge in this building. I mean, this is
You've tried cases on him.
I've tried cases in front of him. I've done hearings in front of him. He's been around for a very, very long time. He is constantly paying attention. He's constantly thinking about what the right thing to do is, and he won't miss an argument. Sometimes you worry that your arguments are either just going to be not understood by a judge or missed, or it's just not going to hit the way you want it to. Every attorney in that courtroom will have an opportunity to have their voice heard and have their arguments listened to, and he will evaluate them fairly. And so they better be ready to put on their best evidence to try to get this stuff in, and the defense better be ready to try to keep it out.
And at one point, the ADA used the term execution, and then the defense objected, even though I don't think you were supposed to have objections there. And he said, this is not the trial, this is a hearing, but believe me, I will not tolerate that kind of language at the trial.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
that.
I mean, he knows that he needs to run a tight ship here. There is added attention, there's added pressure, and we know the scrutiny that can come with these type of media cases, but he's not the type of judge that's going to wilt to that kind of pressure. And when the time comes for his trial, he'll get a fair trial, but everyone better be doing everything by the book or he will absolutely hold them to it.
Lisa, what was Luigi's demeanor? You know, you said he was leaning in a couple of times, but just walk us through from the time court began until it was time to recess for lunch.
Well, he has to, he's coming from MDC, from the federal jail where he's at because of the federal charges, but this case, everyone says this one will happen first, which is already underway, obviously. And so he's inside, he's escorted by them, but he's been very, stoic. Mm-hmm. And then when the behavior that we noticed is like over the time was like when he's sitting at the table, like because there were a lot of videos. I mean, it was minute by minute. The ADA was going, now go to 9:59:15. So
mm-hmm.
like how tight those
yeah.
frames are from video from what we do. But he had it like that. The ADA had all the questions prepped. He said now, and this police officer, this Christine Wasser, who also looks like a TV police officer. She had the long sleeve thing on, and she had the blonde ponytail. But she's a 19-year veteran, and you could tell she's been in court before, mm-hmm. because she was strictly to answer the question, no kind of attitude or any even like hint of like a any kind of feeling or vibe or anything like that, just straight facts.
She was a solid witness, it sounds like, giving testimony.
So. And that goes to the DA as well, because obviously you're allowed to speak with witnesses before a trial, before a hearing. You're allowed to prepare, just as the defense is, and that means that they're really well prepared, and that the DAs understand the gravity of what's happening up there and know what's on the table. And so I would expect every witness to be exactly the same, to be on task, on target, to know the talking points, and to know what to stay away from.
So the evidence that was released over the weekend, was that a part of discovery going into this, and how is it allowed to be released?
That's
now?
the question. I'm glad you asked that, because that's the question we're getting from a lot of people. The evidence came to us from the Manhattan DA.
Right.
They released it.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that? But the judge did not want video, because if the video was coming out that we're seeing today, that could really be edited in certain ways depending on what outcome. But doesn't that taint a potential jury to have that kind of evidence?
Oh, sure. But so does Harvey Weinstein being on the front page of the Post and the Daily News the day jury selection begins, right? That's part of New York City. That's part of what we do here in New York City, and that's part of what comes with trying a case here in New York City, that these things can happen. Now, does the DA's office use the media to its advantage sometimes? Of course. And this could very well be part of that. There's plenty of cases where the defense has the ability to do that as well. But a tainted jury, where is he going to get a fair trial in this country? You know?
Exactly.
And so it's one of those things that you just have to deal with it as it comes along, but it just becomes more and more difficult to get that fair and impartial jury when the time comes.
A quick follow-up to that. If that is the case, how this goes, then does the burden of proof shift even harder to the defense?
Well, the burden of proof never should shift to the defense. That burden of proof better stay in the prosecution the whole time.
Hold on. Speaking as a defense attorney, okay?
That's right.
Speaking as a defense attorney.
The defense has no burden. We remain having no burden. We'll continue to have no burden.
Proven guilty.
So with that, given if that goes like that, how much more weighty is all of this then?
Well, from what you've seen so far,
Exactly.
That's a great question. Like from what you've seen so far, is what we saw today making it harder already for the defense?
I think it doesn't. It just depends who's in charge of talking to the media, right?
Yeah.
Because there are ways to talk about everything we've said, either positively or negatively. Yeah. He's got brilliant attorneys who are going to be able to put out there a message that's advantageous for the defense. And I think because of the way that this evidence was gathered, they're going to have some real weight to that, to what they're saying. So I think it's going to be interesting as this unfolds. I think the Manhattan DA's office should be as transparent as possible, because people can be suspicious about them hiding the 8-ball and them waiting to turn over evidence as though it's some sort of ambush.
Right.
And so they really have to be mindful of that.
But that would put them in trouble with the court, because all of it has to be presented during discovery, right?
Well, I don't know the answer, only because I don't know if it was turned over to the public this weekend. I assume that it was turned over to the defense team a long time ago.
Okay.
It would be be a huge problem if they just turned it over to the defense team over the weekend and then tried to get it into evidence or use it for some sort of function in the hearing. They wouldn't be able to do that.
So also one other thing. So does this judge that's doing the pretrial hearing, does he continue with the actual trial, or is there going to be like a rescheduling, or
Every case is different, and the way that it normally works would be that a judge would keep it for both hearing and trial, but we don't know. I assume certainly that Judge Carroll will keep this case all the way through, though.
And then does the defense now get a crack at this witness? Like, do they have time? Are they allowed to cross-examine her?
Cross-examine, right.
Absolutely. There's no time limit. They can have as long as they want. They can be as thorough as they want. They can go back as long as they're still being substantive, and they can keep asking questions until the judge thinks that they are no longer being useful.
Oh my goodness. So wait a minute. You predicted last week that it was going to go into this week.
I did.
Okay. What's your prediction now, having been in the court and seen the stage that we're at, where they're still establishing these very basic things?
Well, I think you'll be seeing a lot of these grates and this sidewalk all week long.
Okay. I got distracted because it fell out. Question for you, though, as I try to regain myself here. In regards to the witnesses, right now, how many are we talking about? More than 24 or so? And
they said a total. They said in the beginning there was be a total of more than 24, around 28 or so. Today, but think about it. The officer, she's only witness number 2 from today. So let's divide 2 into whatever is left. We had about 8 or 9 last
Right.
week. That's 11. So 14. You're doing two a day, which I don't think they're all going to take that long.
And the judge has his calendar day on Wednesday, so there's no hearing on Wednesdays.
Right.
And so, these things can stretch out. It can a simple hearing that you think is going to be a day can end up being 4 days. One that you think is going to be
in the springtime.
Yeah. Adam Conta, thank you so much for a color perspective. Lisa, what can we expect on the back end as you go back?
Then I'm going to go run in and get a cup of coffee and warm up. They're still on the lunch break, and then but I'm going to be interested. It's going to be. I'm really looking forward to it. We'll stay in touch this afternoon.
Right.
Adam's coming back to talk with you at 5.
Okay.
Phil Hamilton's going to stop by at 4.
Got it.
Talk with you about that. But it's going to be if the defense gets a crack at her, because the other thing too, I'm thinking in my head, like from the defense point of view, if it's a bomb. Like you say bomb or possible bomb, everybody here in New York, they're
scat.
The run.
We get out of the way.
Right. But they're standing around there, they're talking, and yet they're not moving, not saying anything, not resisting anything. And so the sense of urgency that we would expect is not there. That's why I think the DA was going through, one of the reasons why he was going through so painstakingly to kind of point out, we thought it was a bomb. He asked her specifically, did you think there was a bomb in the bag? She says yes. They played audio, there were, even though a lot of the audio was bad. And here was the other crazy thing. While they're searching the bag and they're going through this very, very important part of the whole video evidence, Have a Holly Jolly Christmas is playing in the McDonald's, at full volume. The audio from the police body cams was really rough to hear.
And this was going on in court while you all listening.
Yes,
to all
so I'm like going, oh my gosh. It's like
did that change the tension or the mood inside the courtroom?
No, I think other people were ignoring it because you're just trying so hard to, and I was too. I was trying to, I was trying to listen very, very closely because, unlike federal court, they don't really use the microphones here, so you have to really be glued to
hearing everything, isn't it? Which you know quite well.
And so so I'm going, I'm listening and I'm trying to hear what she's saying, and they're going through the search, and it's about the bomb, and then. Or what they suspected was a bomb, and then have a Holly Jolly Christmas, and I'm going, where is that coming from? I thought it was coming from outside or something.
It's just like the movie Die Hard, right? It's mayhem narrated by beautiful Christmas music.
Exactly.
Burl Lives just appears, just to bring everything home. Lisa, I know you've got to go get back in the line. Adam, I know you're going back in also. Meredith, I am without my IFB, which I don't know if you saw it, but Lisa and Adam certainly did. It blew off and fell into the grate here. So I'm going to let that's why I was looking down.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and Roy reacted.
I predicted that last week,
this
too,
is the second time this has happened to me. That's why Roy dropped his head down like this.
No,
So
you got to get the clip over the ear ones.
Yeah, I'll let you toss back to Meredith and wrap us up.
All right, so we want to thank criminal defense attorney Adam Conta, who's here with us. who knows criminal court very, very well from his clients. And I'll be back in. We're going to find out what's happening this afternoon. But there's been a lot of developments this morning. It's moving along. So Antoine, thank you very much for
Thank you for being out, for adding color to all of that, for not laughing when the wind blew my earbud down there. Meredith, we're going to send things now back to you from Lower Manhattan.
Thanks, guys. All right. Well, hopefully in the next couple of hours, Antoine will be able to retrieve that IFB. He's going to need that for his 4 and 5 o'clock hits this afternoon and into the early evening. I wish we could get a video feed on that, but unfortunately we can't. We're going to take a break right now, and when we come back, Morgan Mackay will be joining me with the latest on what's going on the political scene here in Manhattan. Hello everybody, welcome back to Newsroom Live. It's 1:24 this afternoon. I'm Meredith Gorman, and we just heard about the Luigi Mangione pretrial hearings from some of our reporters who are over at the courthouse right now. But we're going to shift gears to the political scene in New York City. Now, of course, we're getting ready for a transition at mayor. We've got Mamdani coming in, and we actually have our Morgan Mackay, who's going to be joining me from City Hall right now. Hey Morgan, how's it going?
I'm good, Meredith. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you inside. It's freezing out in New York City right now, and I know you've been waiting a little while to join us, so thankfully you're inside.
Very thankful we're inside today. And so we just got done attending a press conference with Mayor Eric Adams. And then before that, we sat down with First Deputy Mayor Randy Mastro, who went over exactly why he sent a letter over the weekend to Mayor Eric Adams saying that he's going to be resigning, which if you know anything about transitions, you know that's probably not too much of a surprise that he's going to be leaving his post as First Deputy Mayor. He says at the end of the year, but he really also wanted to send a message to the mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani about why he is leaving and stepping aside. He says he was one of 179 people in City Hall who received a letter from the Mamdani transition team saying he would no longer have a job at the end of the year, which he says he obviously knows, but he also really wanted to say that he wouldn't stay even if he was offered a position because he believes that Mamdani, who is a democratic socialist, he says that he would not want to work in a socialist administration administration. But Randy Mastro also really detailing some of the work that he did while in the Adams administration, and then also spoke about his message to Mamdani as he's entering office. He spoke a little bit about, for example, an executive order that was issued by the Adams administration just last week that would have the police commissioner review whether to put a perimeter around houses of worship so that protests would not be able to occur close to houses of worship. That would be a review that the police commissioner would have to undertake. Now, that's something that Mamdani has said that he's considering once he takes office, potentially eliminating, which he can do since it's an executive order. We asked Mastro, why do this now? Why do this just with a few weeks left in your administration? Why not do this earlier? But he mentioned an incident that happened just recently where there was a protest that got out of hand outside of a synagogue. And he says he wants to make sure it's important that houses of worship are protected, including those of the Jewish community. He also spoke about the pay raise that lawmakers are considering. Council members are considering raising their pay this next year, and it would push the mayor's pay to nearly $300,000 a year. We asked him if this is something that they should be considering, and he said no, that he doesn't think it's the right time. We also asked him, as he's leaving, if he thinks that it's right for the police commissioner, Jessica Tisch, to be staying on as the NYPD commissioner, if he thinks that it's a mistake for her to be doing this. And he says that everyone's allowed to make their own decisions. And then we also asked him about just what his message is to Mamdani as he's leaving. And he says that he hopes as Mamdani takes on the role of mayor, that he does adjust in some sort of way some of his positions as he transitions into this mayoral role, that he does back away from some positions, like, for example, eliminating homeless encampments. Mamdani said just last week that he would not continue the Adams practice of sweeping up homeless encampments. He says that he wants to focus more on connecting these people to housing without giving too many details. But Mastro said that he does think that while these people should be connected to housing, there's many instances why people are homeless, and it could be not just because they don't have a permanent place to go home to. It could also be because of mental illness. It could be because of drug addiction. So he says that there are many different things that need to be looked at here, but ending homeless encampment sweeps is not the way to do this. And Governor Kathy Hochul as well over the weekend came out to say that she thinks that would be wrong of Mamdani, a practice that she would caution him against ending. So we spoke with Mastro about this, so we'll have more from his words later today in our 5 and 6 p.m. shows.
Thanks, Morgan. Now, also just, going off of, Mastro stepping away, I mean, who do you see stepping in as first deputy mayor under Mamdani?
So Mamdani already appointed his first deputy mayor, who's going to be Dean Foulahan. He was the first deputy mayor under former mayor Bill de Blasio as well, and he served for a long time as one of the top legislative staffers in Albany. He also was one of the budget directors under de Blasio as well, and helped negotiate the budget with the city council. So he's somebody who's very familiar with numbers when it comes to the Albany budget up in Albany. He's very familiar with state lawmakers, and he's very familiar with council members as well. And he's widely recognized as somebody who truly understands both city and state government by both Democrats and Republicans. He's also older, and that's something that Mastro referenced as well. Foulahan, I believe, is 72. So he's somebody who is definitely older, coming in with a lot of experience. So Mastro seemed to, over the weekend, maybe make a jab at Foulahan coming in, but he said it was a praise, and that he is glad that Mamdani is looking to people who have a lot of experience that he's bringing into his administration, and not just people who are maybe newer but have big ideas.
That makes perfect sense. And now, before I let you go, I just saw today that Mamdani says he is moving into Gracie Mansion. So what did he say about that decision? And is he going to let the rent stabilized or rent control department that he has in Astoria go when he moves in?
So the first mayor to move into Gracie Mansion was actually Mayor LaGuardia, and he didn't always actually like to call it Gracie Mansion because he thought it put on too many airs. He liked to call it Gracie's Farm sometimes, and so since LaGuardia moved into Gracie Mansion, every single mayor has moved into Gracie Mansion except for Mayor Michael Bloomberg, who is a billionaire. So obviously he doesn't have the same concerns when it comes to safety, and he had other places to live, but living in a rent-stabilized apartment, one-bedroom apartment in Astoria, Queens, is probably not the safest place for a mayor to be living in New York City, especially when you're considering that sometimes the mayor has to do work in his off hours. Oftentimes he has to do work in his off hours. It's hard to imagine the mayor of New York City trying to conduct city affairs from a one-bedroom apartment in Astoria. So it does make a lot of sense for him to be moving into Gracie Mansion, to be moving in where it is somewhere secure and where he will have resources and people readily available to help him if there is, for example, a major snowstorm in the middle of the night somewhere where someone can take him and quickly get him to wherever he needs to be, or even travel quickly to him and they know they have a base of operations that they can figure out what to do. So he will be moving into Gracie Mansion with his wife in January. He had been unsure, but he will be moving in there.
That's good to know. And Morgan, thank you for joining me. I have to ask, as someone who's been inside Gracie Mansion a handful of times, I mean, what do you think? Do you think it's nice living conditions in there?
It is very nice. They actually turned part of it into a museum a little bit. I haven't been everywhere in there. I would love to go sometime, but it is a beautiful area. It's a beautiful home. It has a lot of history, and it has actually a whole board that helps take care of the entire house. And that was one of the stipulations actually for LaGuardia to move in, that he wanted to make sure it was a place where other people and people in the public can actually go in and see just parts of history as well. So I believe people in the public can go and schedule tours, but I might be mistaken on exactly when and how that works, but definitely take a look.
Thanks, Morgan. Yeah, you know what? Segment down the line, if you ever get access, how about take us through through the mayor's crib with him? I think everyone would love to see the inside of Gracie Mansion. But thank you for joining me, and stay warm, stay inside if you can, because it is quite cold out.
I like that idea. Thank you, Meredith.
All right, we are going to take a break, but next we have Audrey Puente joining me to break down the weather and some exciting other stuff in the entertainment world. Here's a look at the beautiful Christmas tree outside of the Fox headquarters in Midtown Manhattan. And as you can see, kind of in the top right corner, the flags are blowing. It is windy out, which just makes it feel even more cold. And I know right now we are having a couple days of intense coldness. Now, I can't tell you much about the weather, but I do have Audrey here who's going to join me and tell me what's going on. What is the talk about the cold these next couple days?
It's frigid outside, as you mentioned, and good job pointing out the flag because the wind is really making things feel a lot worse than they are outside, Meredith. Temperatures are below the freezing mark across the tri-state area. Now, that's just the actual air temperature. When we factor in the winds, it feels like the teens and even single digits across parts of the area. In fact, our overnight lows, these are the low temperatures I'm forecasting. Now, these are the actual temperatures, right? So we're going to go down into the teens and single digits, factor in the winds. It will feel below zero or close to zero across the entire region tonight. So this actually might be the coldest night of the season so far. And technically, we are still in fall. We are not even in the winter season yet. It officially comes in on December 21st. Highs tomorrow, cold once again, mostly in the 30s. Normally our highs should be at around 45 degrees, so we're going to be well below normal. But we'll actually get to that 45, I think, by Wednesday. So that'll feel a little balmy. Can we say balmy?
Seriously, I mean,
right.
And you know, you mentioned that we're not even technically in well, I can't even say it, meteorological winter.
Well, we are in meteorological winter because that began on December 1st. But astronomical winter, the one the average person usually observes, that happens on December 21st.
That's right. We have an expert here. But so is it a bad sign if we're already facing lows that are?
It does feel that way, right?
Yeah.
It feels that way. I wouldn't say so. It is unusual. Like, we haven't seen this cold this early in the season for quite some time. We've been spoiled in previous winters, so this is not that unusual. It's not out of the realm of possibility, actually, is what I should say, but we just haven't experienced it. In fact, we're going to see a little bit of a turnaround, it looks like, in the weather models in another week or so. So right now we're just in this cold snap, and we're going to have to grin and bear it.
And for people that have to be out and about tonight, especially you know, later into the evening, I mean, when does this cold become dangerous?
You know, I would say tonight, Meredith, and even right now, with temperatures below the freezing mark for the actual temperature reading and wind chills in the single digits and teens, any prolonged period outside, any exposed skin could run the risk of windburn, oh my God, I'm blanking out. Frostbite, thank you, frostbite, and such. So if you have to be outdoors, try to be covered up in whatever way you can, and layered up. Layers actually help because it helps to insulate any body heat that you're emitting.
And honestly, I mean, this time of year, holidays in New York City, I mean, there are people outside all night. Doesn't matter what day of the week it is. I mean, at least you're giving us a little bit of some hope for midweek. It will feel balmy because
46 sounds nice right now, right? Compared to like 28, I think is where we're at right now. And looking at the skyline of Manhattan, we can see some high thin clouds that's filtering our sun. That's about it. We're not expecting any rain or snow. These clouds are actually on the northern fringe of a system that is bringing snow and rain to our south. So places like Maryland, Virginia, they're seeing snow right now, and we're not. Right? So it seems kind of odd. This happened last week too with another storm system that passed to our south. It did bring a few flakes up to the north here, but it was really the mid-Atlantic that bared the brunt of the snow and rain.
And Audrey, I don't know how far out your models go for, but does it look like maybe there's a chance we have snow later this month, maybe in time for the holidays?
White Christmas? Is that what you're asking, Meredith?
Yes.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I haven't looked that far yet. But, you know, listen, we've been very cold. If we stay this cold, it could be a possibility. But I think we're going to just see a little bit of a turnaround as we go into midweek. Let's look forward to that. But we are going to see a little bit of a messy mix, too, on Wednesday morning. So those that are planning their morning commute, it will be sloppy on Wednesday morning. But it should be better for the evening commute.
And ladies, if you are watching this, don't wear your leather boots. Wear some snow boots because this kind of weather ruins your shoes when it's salty.
It does. I'm wearing suede right now. It's not right now there's no rain and snow because you can wear suede today, but not Wednesday. And I do have my fleece lined tights on, so that also helps.
It does help, but you know, we all learn these things the hard way. All right, so you know, the next topic, we're kind of shifting gears a little bit. The Golden Globes are coming up next month, and the nominations were just released before the award ceremony, which I think is January 11th. I know, you know, we work a lot, but I'm sure you watch a lot of movies and shows in your free time. I mean, what's your pattern been like in terms of watching new releases this year?
I have to say, very poor. I'm grateful that you gave me the list beforehand because I was like, I don't know half of these things. Like this list right here, I did not see a single thing on this list.
I know. I mean, we all know who Frankenstein is.
Yes.
Haven't heard of that.
have not.
Even being in theaters right now. What I do know is that Sentimental Value has 8 nominations.
Ooh, what is that about? It must be good if it has 8 nominations.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all of these must be good if they're all nominated.
I couldn't tell you what it's about. Not going to pretend. Sinners has 7 nominations.
What is that about?
Again, I try to limit my screen time when I'm not working in front of a screen all day.
Okay. What's this then?
So,
what are we looking at? So this is Sinners. Okay. Well, listen, Leonardo DiCaprio, we can talk about him. He's really good. Right?
He is.
And he's good at everything he does. Although I haven't seen anything that's on the list. Do we have another list?
We do. So, but while we wait for the, here we go. It's right here. Do you think when you see a movie nominated, are you more likely to go want to watch it?
Yes. For sure. So that's my next watch viewing list. You just gave it to me.
Oh, perfect.
It's drama.
All right.
Musical
these are
comedy.
Musical comedy.
Oh my God, nothing. I haven't seen any of these.
Me neither.
Not even heard of them.
One Battle After Another actually has 9 nominations. I believe that leads all nominations.
Oh, okay. So that'll be the first one I watch then.
Yes. Here's your.
Here's my guy.
Leo.
Yeah.
There's Leo.
I think he's a really good actor.
He is.
Yeah.
He is. And I think any movie he is in gets a lot of eyeballs drawn to it just because of how high profile he is.
You had a few other lists, didn't you?
I do. Now, the next one we have is for Best Motion Picture Animated. Okay. A lot of the movies
I have
on
kids.
here,
I may have seen something on here.
A lot of
Do we have that list?
Yeah, we have it in front of us.
Oh, okay.
K-pop Demon Hunters is one. Okay, that's...
Haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
No, and I'm part of the group that I think that was the most Googled thing, like the top 5 and the most Googled thing.
And like the most watched anything on Netflix
I'm part
ever.
of the Google team that Googled it because I didn't know what it was.
It's really, it's a great movie and the soundtrack is amazing. If you go around to any kid between the ages of like 3 and 14, 15, they know all the lyrics. Some of the songs were like top 5 in the world in terms of streams.
My kids are older than that, so maybe that's why I don't know.
So we'll go. These are some things we might actually know though. Okay, so best podcast.
Okay, this I got.
We can talk about this. Call Her Daddy.
Yes.
We know about that.
She's amazing. Alexandra Cooper, fabulous interviewer.
The Mel Robbins podcast.
Another good one. I listened to that too.
Another person who's really blown up the past couple of years.
Right.
She's a best-selling author now.
Yes,
podcast.
Let Them Theory. Have you read the book, Let Them Theory?
I did, and I really liked it. Did you like it?
No, I didn't read it, but I listened to the podcast about it. I mean, I'm for that.
Me too.
But it's wasting too much energy trying to control.
Especially
Deb over there is agreeing. Too much energy trying to control people. You can only control yourself. That's really the bottom line.
Especially living in New York City, where everything is stressful here
and triggering for most.
That's actually my story later. I'm going to take to the streets and ask people their thoughts on New York City being named the most stressful.
Oh, I heard that over the weekend.
Place in the country.
I agree.
I completely agree. Some other ones, Smartless. I've never listened to that podcast.
I have heard of that. Is that with the 3 men?
Yes.
It is.
It is.
Okay. They're all actors, right?
Yeah.
They're funny people. They're Jason Bateman.
And Sean Hayes.
Right. Sean Hayes, Jason Bateman, and Will Arnett. Yes, the funny people.
Yeah, I love that. Anybody who can make me laugh, perfect podcast.
Yeah. You know who recommended that one to me? Dan Bowens.
Okay.
Dan Bowens. He was a big fan of that one.
Love that. Also, speaking of funny people, Good Hang with Amy Poehler recommended as nominated for Best Podcast.
Yeah, she's pretty funny too.
She is.
And she has a good take on things.
Up First is the other one. I haven't heard of that.
I don't know that one. NPR?
NPR.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well.
I'm sure they're giving out good information.
And, all right, so TV shows. These are Best Television Series, Musical or Comedy.
Okay.
Abbott Elementary.
No, but I have heard of that. I have not seen it.
The Bear, I've heard that's good.
I heard that's great. I know, that's on my list to watch.
Nobody Wants This.
That was great. Did you see that?
No.
Okay.
But I've heard it's great.
That gets my vote.
Hacks.
I never heard of that one, but I like Hacks of any kind. So
Only Murders in the Building.
I heard that's really good too. Is that with Selena Gomez?
You're asking the wrong gal because I'm so bad at watching shows.
No, it is with Selena Gomez. Okay, yes.
And
I heard that's really good.
The Studio.
No. Is that about TV?
Could be. I like any show that's about the TV world.
Did you watch The Morning Show?
I did.
Yeah, that was a good one, yes.
All right, and then we'll cap this off with Best Television Series. These are dramas. Severance, did you watch that?
No, but I heard that's great. Yeah, that's on my watch list.
Okay, The White Lotus. I did watch that.
I did watch that, yes.
And it was a slow start because everyone was talking about it, and I was like, okay, I'll watch it. And at first, the first couple episodes, I was like...
Was this the first season you've ever watched?
Yes.
Okay, yes. It was slow, but it's giving you, the setting the tone of all the characters.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense.
But then I think it was like episode 3 or 4 that it ramped up really quick, and you're like, oh my God, what happened?
Okay, The Diplomat.
No, but I heard that's really, our news director, he told me about that one. That was a really good one.
The Pit.
No. What is that about?
No clue.
Okay.
Pluribus.
It's about a hospital room, The Pit. In New York? Oh, in Pittsburgh.
Okay, hospital room. Pluribus.
I heard that was good too.
And Slow Horses.
Never heard of that one.
Same. I gotta catch up on my shows and
who's watching these
movies, but
who's coming up with the lists?
I don't know. People that might have more time on their hands,
right?
Than
or they're
us.
being paid to do it.
Yes.
I mean, listen. I'll watch all the things I want.
Imagine getting paid. That would be amazing. All right, Audrey. Thank you so much for joining us. And again, I guess if people are going outside later,
definitely bundle up. Yeah,
bundle up.
It's very cold today and tomorrow.
All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, Jody Goldberg is going to join us with the latest from Long Island.
Is that her driving?
Welcome back to Newsroom Live. I'm Meredith Gorman, and here's a look at the New York City skyline right now. We just heard from Audrey Puente, our meteorologist, joining us, and she told us if you are going outside anytime between now and into the evening, you need to bundle up because it is going to feel like single digits out there tonight. So good advice, especially this time of year when the city's booming with people visiting. And then, of course, there's those of us who live here, too, who are out and about commuting home from work and, doing our day-to-day errands in the city. We are going to have one of our favorite reporters, our only reporter who lives in Long Island and reports from there in her day-to-day, joining us to talk about kind of the latest happenings on Long Island and something that's a little bit funny. I'm going to try not to laugh when we talk about that. Yeah, off topic, you could say. We've got Jody Goldberg here right now. Hey, Jody. So what's going on in Long Island today?
So we've got another day out here, and just like the city, very cold out here. I'm inside right now, but I sure did have my jacket on. But Meredith, tonight, you'll see me if you're watching at 5:45. We have a new kind of approach to 5:45. We call it Live at 5:45, and we're profiling different Christmas and holiday light displays. And so tonight we're going to bring it to you from Long Island, and we are going to be at a house in East Northport where a teen, he actually may have just turned 20. His name is Andrew Reed. He has what's known as the Misfit Holiday Light Display, and he goes through people's trash. He finds them, they become his treasure. He puts it all together to create the most incredible holiday light display, and it's doubled in size since last year. It's really cool.
My gosh.
Different.
That sounds like the best job this month. You get to go around and look at different holiday displays. I mean, as a kid and also now as an adult, it's like one of my favorite things is driving around and looking at the way people decorate. Are you kind of canvassing all of Long Island in this search?
So we're taking turns. I think Richard Giacobis did it last week. I think Teresa Priolo did another piece. This time it's my turn. Maybe you'll get a turn.
You know, I hope so. Richard has been our Mr. Holiday in terms of all.
Did you see him at the parade? I loved watching him blow up the balloons.
I did, and he brought his kids with him. And I mean, listen, I didn't grow up in New York City, but it must be so magical around the holidays to be a kid here. I know you have kids. Do you bring them in?
I have 2 kids. Yeah, I have 2 girls. They love coming to work with me. They don't do it often. And if they ever show up to see me or say hi or surprise me, I always question, why did I want them to come with me? But on Black Friday, I actually had my younger one surprise me at the mall. I was at Walt Whitman Mall, and my husband came, and she kind of saw me, surprised me, and then she started saying, I want this toy and that toy and that toy. I was like, that's enough. That's it. We're done here.
You're like, I'm not going to spend every single dime I make today at the mall right now.
On you and your silly gizmos that you want.
Oh, that's so funny. All right, so we just talked about
let's just get to it.
We talked
Here
about
we go.
some wholesome things. I hate to do this, but got to turn this into the adult content side. All right, there's a report out right now that Long Island outspends the entire country on porn, specifically OnlyFans, which if you're watching this and aren't sure what OnlyFans is, it's basically a website where you can subscribe to adult content creators. I think you pay, don't ask me how I know this, I think you can pay a
Meredith, come on here.
I think you can pay a monthly fee to subscribe to different, I need to grow up and stop laughing, subscribe to different creators, and yeah, and I know, listen, OnlyFans has made a ton of money as a company in the last couple of years. Those employees who work for the corporate OnlyFans, I'm sure, are raking in money from equity in the company as well. But Jody, what do you know about this survey?
Listen, I mean, I've been working out here for Fox 5 for almost 11 years in a few more weeks, and I guess it's an honor to say that Long Islanders, both in Nassau and Suffolk, have this recognition to go over what you were saying. I mean, Nassau and Suffolk County with just under 3 million people, we have the most money spent, or we spent the most money. And let's not say we, I mean, Long Islanders have spent the most money, surpassing European nations on porn, including OnlyFans. And just mind you, please, I hope I have my job by the time I'm done with this. I was looking it up online just to make sure, as a reporter, you like to fact check these things. But please don't flag my phone, because I was looking into this today just before we started speaking. Long Island's really big. I mean, you start west, you are in Manhasset, you could go all the way out to Montauk. We're talking, I mean, 50, 75 miles. There's a lot of us out here. And so it speaks for itself. I mean, OnlyFans.
Well, listen, first of all, our managing editor, Deb Cheatham, is right next to me, and I think your job is safe. At least she's here right now listening to this, so you're partly covered.
Deb, we have it. We're okay. You'll vouch for me?
Is she okay? She can't hear you, but that sounds like no promises,
I'll take your word
so
for
we'll
it.
see if you have a job next Monday. But I mean, also, as you go out east, you know, into Long Island, it does get really lonely and cold this time of year. So I guess.
I mean, what do you say? The people in the Hamptons who are in like kind of an isolated, very, you know, I mean, it's busy in the summer, it gets boring in the winter. That's who's going out there.
Listen, it's boosting the economy, so that's a plus.
So let me get to some of the numbers. Suffolk County residents spent more than $12.5 million total so far this year, mind you. It's only December. We're about in the second week of December. While dirty-minded, I guess, according to, you know, this article, Nassau County residents have spent $9 million.
Wow.
And so, I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of feet. That's a lot of very X-rated video, and just, I guess, about anything else that they're into out here in this great area that I cover every single day.
That is really something. I mean, impressive is one word to say. I don't know if that's impressive, but.
And just, I guess, to put it in perspective, Brooklyn, I think the number was just over 2.5 million. And I'm looking here, Queens, roughly 2.3 million.
Well, that is quite an interesting study. And again, I mean, listen, I've seen things online on TikTok and whatnot. Some of these creators are just raking in millions and millions of dollars every single year from this content. So crazy market for it, and obviously in order for them to make those kind of that kind of income, there has to be people who support them. So again, I guess they can thank some Long Islanders for that.
Very loyal fans out here.
All right.
Totally supporting their interests.
Well,
and if you really want to take a turn, I don't know how much time we have, but if you really want to take a very sharp turn, I could speak to you about another story that we're working on. How much time do we have?
Oh, we have 4 minutes left, so
time's on our side. Well, here we go. So if you talk about supporting, OnlyFans, we could also talk about supporting, Meredith, this is a very sharp turn. Put your seatbelt on.
Oh, I'm ready.
Supporting a company, it's called Forever Next Year New York. It's another story I'm working on out here, and I think it'll air later on this week. It's about a 27-year-old who turned, a finance guy into fashion. He started his own brand, and he's supporting not only fans, but New York teams. And so he came up with an apparel brand, and it all is, labeled, logoed Forever Next Year New York, because, hate to say it, I mean, there are many believers, but the New York teams, you have 6 of them, they aren't doing so well. I mean, you yourself, your sports, and we haven't been doing well, except this is a kid who's just trying to stay hopeful, trying to unite fellow New Yorkers who just kind of shake their heads every time you have a game starting off or a season starting off with so much promise, and it just totally takes a dive. And so that's another version of support. And you'll see that story this week. You'll see my Misfit Tree story tonight. And of course, let's leave you with those facts from that OnlyFans study.
That's hilarious. Listen, in terms of the New York sports teams, listen, I grew up as a kid near Buffalo. We were Buffalo Bills fans, my entire family, and they never won a Super Bowl. So all we faced was disappointment. And then I moved to New England and, covered sports there for a while. And the fans there were so spoiled. I couldn't believe it. Every single year, some team was winning a championship. And now that I'm in New York, I feel like I'm plunged back to reality. And, the always next year thing is real. I mean, every single season, people get so excited, whether it's for the Jets or the Giants or
you talk about these trades. I mean, we got this player, we gave this, we have the new coach. It doesn't matter. And so the frustration that this kid is feeling is something that's shared by so many people out here and throughout the state, of just that hope and followed by that letdown.
I mean, and how do the clothes look? Are they stylish? Would you wear some of them?
Yeah, they're cool. They're really cool. They all have the logo Forever Next Year. He has one shirt, and it says Forever is Now, and it has the Knicks logo on it. That's because he says if there's a team in New York, he thinks it's the Knicks that can maybe pull through. Think about it. The Mets started off with such promise this past season. The Jets, you did these. Where are we? Where are you?
I know. Listen,
the Bills won yesterday, so that's good. Your Bills.
Good. But 2 months ago, or around the start of the Knicks season, I was outside of MSG interviewing fans about their anticipation for the start of the season and their predictions about the start of the season. All of them were like, "This is our year, new coach. We're excited," and unfortunately, it doesn't always.
Every year has been our year. Every year is, and that's what's so pathetic about it. And so this is kind of just molding pain and pride and persistence and putting together this clothing line that hopefully, does well.
Great chatting. Thank you so much for joining us, Jody. And once again, everybody, thanks for watching this edition of Newsroom Live.
Thanks for watching Fox 5 New York. We're now joining live now from Fox.
And Department of Commerce Special Agent in Charge Trey McClish, and Homeland Security's Investigations Dallas Special Agent in Charge Travis Picard. I'm here to represent FBI New York's work on the disruption of a $200 million illegal network that allegedly smuggled restricted technology to China. Today's disruption highlights the importance of partnerships, especially when targeting threat actors who are attempting to carry out the agenda of foreign governments, which violates the integrity of our international trade market. This close collaboration ensures we are a united front against an ever-evolving and pervasive threat. As you heard earlier from the U.S. Attorney, the FBI New York office assisted our partners by arresting Fan Yu Gong for allegedly operating as a key figure in this scheme. As alleged, Gong hired individuals to relabel the graphic processing unit shipments and conceal the package's true contents, directly facilitating the unauthorized shipment of controlled products outside of the United States and into the hands of the Chinese government. The sophisticated conspiracy allegedly created a backdoor to provide an adversarial nation with advanced technology using artificial intelligence applications and high-performance computing to advance China's civil-military fusion efforts. Additionally, I'd like to thank Department of Commerce and Homeland Security investigations for their tireless dedication identifying and apprehending those who seek to jeopardize our nation's critical infrastructure. Specifically, as it relates to New York, I'd like to thank our counterintelligence squad for their contribution to our success today, and the FBI Washington field office, who were unable to attend today, but also assisted in the case. Again, I want to say thank you to the U.S. attorneys from the Southern District of Texas, Nicholas Ganji, and his team for the aggressive prosecution of this case, and for extending the invitation for me to be here back in Texas with everybody, with Commerce and HSI today. I want to commend everybody here on a job well done. With that, I'll turn it back over to U.S. Attorney Ganji. Thanks, Chris.
All right, let's open it up to some questions. Yes. Well, I think the common citizen American citizen should be concerned with alleged espionage efforts happening within our country, and that American technology would be diverted to assist one of our strategic competitors overtake America's technological superiority. Yeah, John.
Directing these people or advising these people? We talked about businesses in Hong Kong, but is there a government role here, at least in the indictment?
Yeah. So in the indictment and these complaints, no such connection is alleged. Our investigation is ongoing, but we're not going to get outside the four corners of those documents.
Other indictments involving Chinese nationals and espionage this year, is there any connection between this case and those cases that we saw?
Well, again, we're staying within the four corners. I don't know if you're specifically referring to the Zayway case, the hacking case. There's no connection alleged within those documents we provided you today.
Is there any indication that these folks were instructed by a specific partner or Chinese government agency to do this?
Well, if you the paperwork provided you, the criminal complaints, there is an allegation that Mr. Wan was engaged in a conversation with people overseas regarding concealing the nature of the GPUs, priming them for export in violation of U.S. laws.
You say they were based in Houston. Can you be a little bit more specific with where how global was space? Was it an office space? Where at?
Yeah, it was an office space in Sugar Land, Texas. Mr. Shu is a resident of Missouri City, Texas. But again, the company's physical space, it is under-resourced. I'm not even sure it still exists, but that is why it was funded with money that was coming from overseas sources in order to buy these chips.
You know, we're talking about an international crime. You have offices in New York and Houston, obviously. Like, how does this collaboration happen? Does somebody call up Houston and say, hey, I think this is going on? Like, do you guys need to create these collaborations, or how does it kind of work?
That's a great question, John. So with cases like this have such a specialized nexus, you're going to want to have the best and the experts on everything. So you're going to have, of course, our National Security Division, DOJ. You're going to have the Department of Commerce, and FBI is involved in national security cases such as this, or I'm sorry, export violations such as this, as well as HSI. But this collaboration, you may not hear about it all the time, but this is going on in a lot of cases maybe that are, for whatever reason, underneath the media radar. Department of Justice, Department of Commerce, Department of Homeland Security, we work hand in glove, not only on cases such as this, but basically almost any case you can consider. Certainly we work with DHS quite a bit on immigration-related cases, but Department of Commerce, if you have an export, violation, they're the people to talk to because they're the experts.
This is my last question. This is a new technology. Stuff's always changing with these AI chips.
Yeah.
So I headline this morning that one of the kinds of chips that is involved in this indictment, the H200, might now legally be allowed to be exported to China. Does that change anything about the work you guys have done over the past, I suppose, couple of years?
So right now, I believe it's the H20 that is available for export. I think people, obviously H100 and H200, if it were to be allowed, that's a hypothetical. Obviously, it would be profitable for some corners to export that. But the H20 compared to the H100 and H200, it's the difference between shooting a bullet and throwing a bullet. These are among the most advanced in the world, and there's a reason why the H20 is available and these are not. And there's a reason why these are desired and sought after, even to the point of creating fake inventories and fake manifests to shuttle it overseas. Yes?
Is this akin to like the nuclear race? I don't know, just in terms of what's possible with this type of technology.
Sure. Well, I'm certainly not an AI expert, but AI, I think, has the potential to affect literally every scientific field, every field of study. It'll touch upon economic concerns, military concerns. So I would prefer that the United States be the leader in AI technology. I would strongly prefer that. If somebody is illegally undermining that by sending these overseas, my office and myself are very, very concerned about that. So, yes.
Were these chips physically here in Houston and then sent overseas? How did that I guess, trail of product go?
Sure. So as the complaint alleges, far better than I can say, but they usually followed a circuitous route, either to the West Coast or to New York, New Jersey, from North Carolina. One shipment went down to Atlanta, but ultimately it would be shipped to a country other than China, such as, say, Singapore, and then from there diverted to Hong Kong or mainland China. So they did not initially start in Houston, but How Global was based in Houston, and purchases were made from North Carolina.
But as far as you know, the chips never actually here.
I don't believe so. The investigation's going on for better part of a year. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
Before y'all were involved, they managed to get any product to China?
Unfortunately, yes, I do.
What's the value of that?
From what we can see within the people responsible in this case, it's estimated around $50 million.
What do you think will happen next? Are they going to try to figure out how these work?
I can't speculate on what the people overseas would do with these chips.
160 million is a whole lot. Can you break it down? Like, how much is one? I don't know if that's numbers.
Yeah, they vary wildly. So like H100s obviously cost less than H200s. There's baseboards that cost a different amount of money, and they're modular. You can put a bunch of these chips on the baseboards, allow them to process together. But what I can say is the 160 million is the entire scope of the criminal scheme. So that includes a large amount of chips that were ordered, but ultimately never shipped because of the good work of our law enforcement partners in intervening so early.
So So that 50 million, sorry, the 50 million that made it overseas is in addition to the 160 that was stocked, correct?
Yes.
Any idea what the Chinese were paying? There's another value, were they paying exorbitantly above that?
I don't know what the Chinese, and I don't know what you mean by the Chinese. I don't know if you mean like the people overseas, or because I don't want to speculate as to it being a governmental source versus a private source. But Mr. Xu was paying market rates as a customer in the United States would pay for H100s and 200s. Okay. All right, everyone. I really appreciate you being here today. Obviously, this case, I think, has pretty big implications for our country, and we're excited that that this is the first salvo in Operation Gatekeeper. So stay tuned, more to come. All right, thank you very much.
All right, just listening in there, U.S. Attorney Nicholas Ganji talking about this Operation Gatekeeper, talking about some of what was going on with this artificial intelligence technology and exporting scheme with links to China, saying some of these people had offices there in Sugar Land, Texas, say they were working with different departments under the DOJ to kind of get this out, as it's very kind of niche into this market as a whole. So we're following closely here on Live Now from Fox, keeping an eye on the White House as President Trump expected to hold a roundtable within the next 15 or so minutes. We'll take you out to it, largely around the economy and potentially tariffs. We'll have that and much more here on Live Now from Fox.